And now what you've all been waiting for, we are going to invite Morgan and Ashley to the stage and get started learning about their intern program. So Morgan and Ashley, if you want to join me up here, that'd be lovely. Hello, hello. Good
Hi, good
morning.
morning.
Morgan repping Target. I love it so much.
Mhm.
We are going to get started with just a couple intros. So Morgan and Ashley, would love for you both to talk about your role at Target, how long you've been there, and maybe your favorite thing about working with emerging talent at Target, if that sounds good to y'all. Maybe Morgan, will have you go first, and then Ashley.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan Bailey. So I've been with Target for, it's going to be 14 years in June, which is just wild.
Wow.
So started in store management and then have been in talent acquisition ever since. So I was a recruiter, and then now I do the enterprise internship program. So if you think of me and Ashley do all things in regards to designing what our interns do, experience, receive as resources, and so forth. For your question about emerging talent, I would just say for me, it's just seeing the growth. I love to see like the day one of the interns when they come in and they're timid and they're scared to like the last week where they are probably going to be like my boss one day and they're doing so wonderfully. They have all these great connections, and then to see them even progress and go on into like careers. Like this morning, I was able to have two past interns do an event for us, and just to see them in their role and thriving and coming back to support future interns is so rewarding.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. And Ashley, would love to hear
Yeah,
from you.
of course. Hi, I'm Ashley Coleman. Not as long as Morgan. I've been at Target about 2 years, a little over 2 years now, which has been crazy already. I just remember when I first started. Actually, Morgan got me into Target, which has been really fun and kind of getting to work with Morgan a lot. Prior to Target, I worked kind of in banking and finance. Was a recruiter working on their university relations program, and then I moved over to Target around 2021. Senior recruiter, so working on our software engineer interns as well as our entry level roles like our technology leadership program, specifically within tech. And then the last year or so, been again working with Morgan with all things interns, so programming, planning, event planning, logistics, all that fun stuff. So it's been really, really fun. My favorite about emerging talent is, I always say like today's emerging talent is going to be probably our our C-suite employees in the future. So I think our chair of HR started as an intern. I think our chief diversity officer also started as an intern. And so it's just really fun to see how our internship program really promotes growth and development. And so seeing people like that grow within the company is just really fun to see, which you don't see in many places. So it's great. So I love that.
That is so cool. I feel like from working with your talent acquisition team and of course your team, it feels like Target really takes care of its people, and people tend to stay for decades and decades when they start there. So that's really amazing to see, and it kind of speaks to your culture. Okay, so let's talk about your internship program. So at a high level, would love just kind of a rundown from you, like when in the year do your interns join you? How long are they with you? And how many interns do you have at a time?
Yeah, I can jump in. So we have about on average 600 to 700 interns. Ebbs and flows a little bit based on the year and what's happening, but it's a summer program. So most of our interns will kick off in June, and then it either runs for 8 to 10 weeks. So we kind of have two sides of the program. We have an HQ program, and then we have field, so inclusive of stores and distribution centers. The differences between the both is HQ is more kind of project based, if you will, behind the scenes. It might be work based too, but the field is going to be more learning leadership. So they're actually in a store or distribution center and learning how to lead a team anywhere from 20 to 50 people right from the get-go. So a little bit different. It's guest facing. So it's more of like, are you someone who likes to be behind the scenes in more strategy, or someone who likes to be actually in the store with the guest leading the team on the front? So our internship program is really focused on that realistic job preview. So everything we do, we're hoping that they get a glimpse into what a full-time career could look like at Target. And to help support them, we do have a mentor and manager assigned to each intern. So that person is really helping to guide them, giving them feedback, showing them the day-to-day operations, and kind of like a job shadow experience, if you will. But we really want them to be able to see each and every day, like truly, what are you going to do if you get this role, as we hope to hire all of the interns after they do the internship.
Amazing. And that's so cool that you are assigning so many people to the interns too, because then it kind of feels like a full company experience. Like it's not just y'all responsible for the interns, it's the entire company's responsibility to make sure they have a great time.
Yeah,
I think that's really
absolutely.
smart. Awesome. And obviously your field interns are in person. Do you have some interns that are remote or hybrid, or how does that work for y'all?
Yeah, good question. So for HQ, we, with 2019, with COVID, as many of us did, we did transition to virtual. Historically, it was always in person. And then for the last 2 years, we did an on-site for a week where they would just fly in for 1 week, dedicated on-site experience. And then this year, we are doing back in person. So Ashley and I have been busy thinking about that, is how do we return to being back in person, and all the the snafus that go with it and changes that you have to kind of remember how we did that one time before.
Totally different ballgame. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to know from everyone in the chat. You can just type a word or two. Do you have remote intern, hybrid, both? What does that look like for y'all? So we kind of get a lay of the land on who's here. Gabby's hybrid, 2 days a week in the office. Jessica's on site, maybe a bit of hybrid. Okay. Hilti is mostly in person, some hybrid, both on site. Okay, cool. Awesome. Good mix. And Jesse's
Yeah.
fully remote. Okay, cool. Thank y'all for sharing that. And then Morgan and Ashley, what are kind of the focal points of your program, and what elements are kind of like your signature, like consistent every single year?
Yeah, I can help answer that. I would say, like Morgan mentioned a lot, or mentioned before, we do focus on that realistic job preview. So we do a lot of pre-engagement events, opportunity for them to get to know us and learn a lot about Target. So we'll do some webinars, how to make the most of their summer, kind of giving advice to the interns that are coming in. So we've gotten really great feedback about that. Some also things that we also continue to do is also just communication is key as well. So we do newsletters each month to kind of give them up to date on like what's happening for the summer, key things, action items that they need to complete. And again, just learning a little bit more about Target and also connecting with other interns as well. So finding ways for them to know who's coming into the program and finding connection points that way. We've done things like LinkedIn where they connect prior to internship. We're trying something new as well this year, maybe using something more with an app. So we're trying to find creative ways to kind of get them engaged. Some focal programming that we do every year. So we always like to incorporate like our leadership teams. So we'll do LT panels. We always have a CEO session with Brian as well that comes in and just kind of talks to the intern, which has been really fun. Again, we'll do some fun programming as well, whether it's like a baseball game or trivia or just small, get to know you opportunities as well, which we've gotten some really good feedback as well. Same thing, like the manager are really key as well. So we make sure every intern is paired with a mentor and manager. And they really help them with their development and getting to know Target throughout the summer as well. We'll get into, fun things like small giveaways, welcome gifts, fun swag is always really fun for interns as well. So, I would say those are a few things that we make sure we do every year. But again, continue to innovate, continue to think things differently each year and think through like what would make something meaningful for the interns that are coming in this summer.
Yeah, something really interesting y'all said in the prep call we had last week was I asked them when they started planning for the summer ahead. And I think Morgan said, you're always about a year and a half ahead. And I was like, wow, that's so far out to plan, but it makes sense because you're kind of consistently taking that feedback and making sure you're integrating it into your programming. So I guess we'll go ahead and ask that question. Anything else that you would like to share with everybody about kind of how you think about the year ahead for your interns, or like when you start planning for that next summer?
Yeah, I think it's always just based off of the feedback and like the surveys that we give the interns. So every year right after, we're like, okay, how did that event go? Would we repeat it? What would we change? And like trying to take notes and have that into our memory bank for future. But as you guys all probably know, these roles are super collaborative. So if you ever want to do like a resource or a bigger initiative, it just takes so many partners to get things off the ground. And that's where it's like the year and a half comes into play. So if it's a resource where we need partners to weigh in or design or critique things of that nature, those take a lot longer. So, I mean, still always a work in progress is how can we be proactive and think about it and like, okay, we want to do this, let's back it up to when we can actually accomplish that and achieve it. But I would say, yeah, I mean, it's always really early on for next year in the moment, kind of recapping, retroing with our team about what changes to impact. And you think you've got a year, that's great, but there's always room to change and things to improve, right?
Yeah. I was
Always.
Morgan, I was like, we're doing things now for the summer, and I'm already like, okay, for next year, we're not doing that. For next year, we'll think about that. So it's like I'm already thinking about things that we'll have to do for next summer, which is already funny. So
That's great. Okay, so last question, and then we're going to go into a breakout and talk about some of these questions and how they relate to everybody who is in attendance today. So y'all will get a chance to learn from each other as well. So I have to ask, because we're in Gatheround, how does Gatheround come into play in every single summer? And how are you planning on using it this year?
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you guys. I will say firsthand that I love Gatheround, and it has been such a game changer for us. So when we did the virtual component, it was like, how do we solve for being virtual and like not having the connections that you just have in office? And Gatheround was really a way that allowed us to have that networking and a chance to have conversations where we could edit, the conversation cards to be, maybe it aligned to a weekly theme that we were doing, or maybe it was just more fun. So I loved that we could still kind of control the agenda and the topics a little bit. But more importantly, it brought the fun, having like the videos and the emotions. Like, it was different than, you think you could just use like the Zoom platform or the whatever you're doing, but they want something that's different, right? And fun and engaging, and allows you to just have a different thing each day. So I will say in the virtual or hybrid, it's been amazing. But also too, this year, we're going to expand it from HQ to our field, which is our biggest program, which is going to, I think, solve for, we have interns everywhere in the field. So stores and distribution centers are all over the place. And we hear every single year that interns just want more time to connect with other interns and ask questions and talk about pain points and things of that. So I'm excited to use this as a venue that will, bring the fun. We can tailor it, but will allow people to connect from all over the country in different ways.
I love it. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hop into a breakout. This is going to be, I think, about 8 minutes and just a one-on-one. So you'll get plenty of time to talk about your programming and share with someone else, hopefully learn from someone else as well. So similar to last time, when I press the play button on this, you're going to say join activity, and you'll be matched with one other person in here. So give me some reactions or thumbs up in the chat if you're excited, you're ready to talk about your own programs and maybe incorporate some of the learnings you just heard from Morgan and Ashley too. Okay, cool. I see. Okay, cool. Some reactions. There we go. All right. I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Welcome back. I'm really feeling 90s today, if y'all can't tell. Okay. How was that breakout? Morgan, I think you went in there. Did y'all have a good time?
Yeah,
Cool.
we got in a really good conversation. We got off the conversation card, which is always nice to just connect on things that are going on.
Awesome. I always wish I could make those longer, but for sake of time, Cool. So the next block of questions is directly from y'all. These are everything that was submitted from the audience. And I want to encourage y'all to also put questions in the chat as they come up for you in your mind. So if there's any like follow-ups you want to ask Morgan and Ashley, go for it. I want to make sure that y'all get what you want to out of this time. So with that said, let's dive in. So Morgan and Ashley, would love to hear a little bit more about managing engagement for your summer interns. What are the things that have really stuck with them that you get feedback on or positive feedback on every year?
Yeah, I can take this one. So some of our big things as we thought about the best things for engagement for us. So we thought our first moment, we do a big celebration moment where everybody comes. It's kind of a way to get to know everybody. We do some fun. We've got recruiters, a couple leaders there. So it's really a time to just have fun before we get into any business, any orientation type things. We do that. We also do what Ashley alluded to as our speaker series. So that just allows them to meet, numerous different leaders throughout the program. We'll sprinkle in a leadership panel, the CEO session. So just some fun ways to get to know leaders that way. But we try to just keep, moments alive through engagements, like maybe doing 2 things a week. Right. So they can hear from a speaker, maybe something fun, like Ashley said, a baseball game or whatnot. So it'll be interesting this year now that we are back to hybrid. So we always try to be intentional, like 20% programming for us to do. Then we have the business do about 20%, and then we protect about 60% of their time to do projects or whatnot. So I think while we always want to do fun, engaging things, we don't want to overdo too much and then they're feeling like they can't keep up on their project or whatnot. So with that too, we always spend a lot of time thinking about the projects or the work that they're doing. How do we keep those engaging? Like we said before, that realistic job preview. And then lastly, I know we talked a lot about that mentor pairing. So a ton of engagement comes from the mentorship and managers that we have. So we do a lot of like training and prep for them too, in regards to how are they engaging with their intern? How are they creating an experience that offers, you know, the job shadows, the get to know yous and other pyramids of the business as well. So they're really helping us to bring along their experience.
That's awesome. And I love this question from Jessica in the chat. Is it easy to get those leaders to say yes to a speaking engagement? How do you approach that?
It actually is. So our culture, at least at Target, is like they want to be involved. I mean, even like LT is like, oh, I want to be on the panel. How can I be involved? So we do ask very early, I will say, though, because calendars do fill up. But it does seem like it's kind of cool because a lot of our leaders and whatnot were interns themselves, which is why I think they want to be involved and speak to their experience, but also give back to the interns in that way too. So any chance where you can use alumni or previous interns, I think always helps too from an engagement standpoint.
Super smart. Yeah. And I mean, they are investing in the young talent at their company. So they should have a vested interest in that for sure. That's great. And oh, sorry. I was reading my own question wrong. What do you do prior to the internship experience to get your interns ready and excited? Is there any kind of like pre-engagement that y'all do before the interns actually show up at HQ?
Yeah, I can take that one. So pre-engagement is pretty big for us, again, to get them acclimated to Target, getting to know us and really feel comfortable before they start. So we will do a lot of engagement, whether it's with leaders or with our recruiters to get them engaged. So we do a lot of our pre-engagement events. This year we will do what we have is kind of a Target, what we call Target Tuesdays, which is focused on development. So we'll have them, it could be like a LinkedIn learning, it could be a branding opportunity. So we'll do a couple of things with them to partner with them before they start. We'll also usually do some kind of webinar with our L&D team about, you know, how to make the best of your summer, kind of giving them advice. We've also done things like bringing in past interns who are full-time employees to come and speak as well so they can share their experience. So what they've learned, you know, advice that they can give to the interns, you know, what to expect, you know, Target lingo, just things that would help them to get really acclimated and excited for the summer, which is fun. And like I said, our recruiters get involved too, so they'll connect with them. They'll do newsletters. We have like keep warm strategies as well, so just keeping them engaged before they start. So there's a lot of different things that we do to help them, like I said, get excited, making sure they feel prepared. And so Morgan and I will team up a lot during that, you know, those months prior to the summer starts to kind of get them involved and see what's on their mind.
That's a ton of stuff. That's like yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Marcy. I was going to say we have a team of recruiters that help with that. So something to think about, like we have what we call like a cross-functional team, where we're getting that recruiter, you know, voice too of what do we want to do, where we've learned it's really about personalization and that messaging. So we have, like, if you will, a captainship where we will design, you know, monthly touch bases, like what does it look like? What should we do, a newsletter, a live moment? So something to think about too. And then to Jesse's point, are there issues with pre-engagement when they're hourly? We're super intentional about that with our legal partners as well. It's optional, it's voluntary, and it's nothing that would be seen as like training that you would need to do for the internship. It's more of like optional, good to know type things, like invest in yourself, learn about the role, kind of marketing, what these roles entail. So we don't cross that line of like expectations. You have to do this as homework in order to prepare. It's kind of how we stay between that.
That's awesome. And Gabby, is there anything specific about pre-engagement that you're curious about? Feel free to type in the chat if so. And while you're doing that, I'll ask another question. So y'all have both mentioned L&D opportunities, and I know you do a ton of stuff for development over the course of the internship. But I would love to hear the specific topics that you focus on and why those topics.
Yeah, so topics with the interns throughout the
Yeah.
year. So throughout the internship, we will do certain topics that align to like our company values. So if it's like, you know, corporate responsibility, diversity, engagement, and inclusion, we'll do a week for professional development. So we try and really hone in on, you know, an area of target that we want to educate them on, but also how can we align activities to bring that theme to life. So that's been really great. And then Jeanette, for your question too, for the engagement, I would say it's probably monthly. So it's kind of a mixture. So we'll do like starting in usually February, we'll do a monthly newsletter from like the enterprise program that are just intern related. But then our recruiters will do a lot more too. So it's kind of a collaboration where ours are more general, and then recruiters will do more kind of like personalized reach outs, if you will. So I would say it could work out to be, you know, twice in 1 month, so maybe bi-weekly, but for sure at least monthly. And then we've heard that the more the better. We've heard probably twice a month is truly what they want, but it's really based on like that personalization. So I would think about a mixture of just general, but also when are there moments that you can personalize and have like actual conversation with them.
Yeah, and if you can get leaders involved too, like we've done program managers who've been involved that kind of share like what to expect during your program this summer, or if they have a chance to connect with their manager or mentor before the program, if they know who that's going to be. Even just a simple email that says, I'm excited for you to join, welcome, like reach out to me if you have any questions. I know some teams also done like peer buddies as well, which are interns that again are full-time employees that may have been an intern prior. So again, they can kind of give that like, I was in your shoes kind of moment. Like, here's what I recommend before you start, or this is what I thought was really valuable before I got to Target or while I'm at Target. So any of those moments where you can connect someone from Target, whether it's a recruiter, a manager, a mentor, whoever it is, prior to the start, has just been really key. And then Morgan mentioned before, just that realistic job preview. We continue to hear in our surveys. They just want to know like what to expect. Like, is there any like software programming that I should learn before I start? Like, what's the dress code before I get there? So anything that you can help them get prepared, they find that really, really valuable.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gabby, I love your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The swag and goodies. We change it up every year, but I would say we got good feedback around, we did AirPods. So not like the expensive ones, but like maybe they're not AirPods, but the wireless earphones. We've done coffee mugs. Yep, thanks, Ashley. Coffee mugs. We always provide them with a shirt. We did like bento boxes before, like the lunch boxes. We did a bobblehead, which was kind of fun. So do a little bit different every year. We always give like a pen and a journal. Mouse pad has been kind of fun before too. Branded mouse pad.
It's great. Very functional stuff.
Yes.
I feel like people appreciate that. Absolutely. Awesome. Last question before we go into another breakout. We all share a little bit more about these questions. How do you, we kind of touched on this earlier when we were talking about Gatheround, but how do you approach like making all of your interns, all 600 of them, feel like one single cohort and feel connected despite whatever location they're sitting in?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, again, Gatheround has helped a ton with that because it allows them to have that connection and conversations that are a little bit more organic. So Gatheround has been a huge solve for that. But we usually try, like I mentioned, our kickoff moment. We all come together and then we all kind of break out too with our business. I would say each business too is very intentional with how they drive that collaboration amongst their interns. So we do a lot of like, yes, broader enterprise, but how do we bring it back to do a specific kickoff, get to know you activities, maybe a project deep dive or overview. So that's been really helpful too, to get into like a smaller cohort or group of here's what we're all doing. And then we have the broader things going on too. Would you add anything else, Ashley?
Yeah, I say we also lean on our recruiters a lot too. They bring the moments where they can all come together. So whether it's like For example, I know our team in December, we did like a coffee and cocoa chat opportunity for all the people that are joining for the summer. So we got to know each other, play some trivia, which was really fun. We actually got a lot of feedback. So just utilizing the people on your team too to bring those moments have been really, really helpful because they want to know the recruiters, and it's easy for them to kind of bring everyone together in those moments too. So definitely use them as part of your team for those connections.
Great. I lied. I do have one more follow-up question. So it sounds like your interns have quite a bit of time once they accept the internship to when they actually start. What does that timeline look like for them?
I mean, it could be a long time. Some accept in August. You know, if they're coming back for a second internship, say if their graduation date changes, they can come back for a second year. Or else we can just hire them as early as September when they're back on campus. So that's why we have an engagement strategy that is every single month year round. So we have those touch points in place no matter when you're hired.
Smart. Okay.
Do you all kick off in person or is everyone joining? So for HQ, we will have the kickoff moment in person. So again, it has changed. We did virtual the last couple of years. So we'll kick off in person. For field, they will do in person. Well, they'll bring people together by market. So it's not everybody in the field, but they'll do like a district of stores or a group of stores, or as it makes sense based on how far they have to travel to get a smaller group together for their kickoff orientation.
Awesome.
I hope that answers your question.
Cool. I know we're about 13 minutes out. That hour passed so quickly. So let's do one more quick breakout, and then we'll come back and do some group sharing, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Morgan and Ashley, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing everything about your program, and we'll see you again in a bit, but thank you for everything. Okay, I will see you back here in 5 minutes. Have fun. Hello, hello. Okay, let's do some group sharing. I'm excited to hear from y'all. So this prompt to this question is going to be, what's the most interesting thing you learned from someone else today? So this could be something you heard from Ashley and Morgan. This could be something that you heard in one of your breakouts, but really excited to hear an engagement tactic maybe you're excited to try, or just something that was kind of an aha moment for you. See, Caroline joined, Gabby joined, Morgan, awesome. Got Caroline up first. Caroline, I haven't met you. I'm so happy you're here. Hello.
Hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I was actually talking just with Ashley and just saying, first of all, thank you so much for hosting this session. It's super interesting just to hear how you all do things and to hear from everyone else kind of how they run their programs. So I think kind of the most interesting kind of engagement tactic that I was hearing about, which was really validating, was kind of two-part, the newsletter, as well as kind of getting the leaders in front of them early. I know that's something that I'm trying to focus on. So really appreciate that.
Awesome. Very well timed too. Like right as the fade out happened, you finished up. It's impressive. Jeanette, I've not met you either. So happy you joined us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Good. So I think the one key thing I took away is the pre-engagement. I know we've done a couple of pre-engagement things, but the
Oh, I think something cut off really quick. I'm so sorry, y'all. That was strange. Let's restart that super fast. So if you were in the queue, go ahead and rejoin. We might have had someone hit a button on accident, which if so, no big deal. We can always restart. Okay. Got a different order this time, just shaking things up. Hi, Jessica.
Hey there. So this is my first year where we've had some sort of engagement strategy. So I thought we were doing pretty well, but hearing some of the others about you almost need a full year-round strategy just in case you have people who accept again, it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit in that sense, because like I said, I thought we were doing good. Like, okay, we started off January reaching out to people, but it was like, maybe we could even do better. Maybe we could do better.
Well, and all this is relative, right? Like if you're just starting out, then give yourself grace for sure. But I love that opened up some new ideas for you. Hi, Morgan.
Yeah, I just joined. I just wanted to say just thank you to guys. I feel like we have mostly shared all of our stuff, but I continue to hear awesome things about, just the swag or what you guys do weekly. I think I heard that someone's doing a leadership speaker series every single week, which I was like, oh, room
Wow.
for improvement. We aren't doing every single week. So that was great to hear.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing and everything you shared today. That was fantastic. We got Gabby up next. Gabby, I haven't seen you forever. Hi.
I think it was just really nice to be able to join one of these. I know it's been a long time, but it's really just nice to speak with other people in the early careers and intern space, because I feel like our programs might all be so different, but there are so many similarities in what we can learn from each other. So it's just really nice to hear that, we're all going through the same thing together and fighting the same problems too, which is really nice to get some inspiration for how we can engage our interns coming up this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy that we finally had one that was early enough our time for you
Yeah.
to join, Gabby.
Yeah.
Sorry, they've all been afternoons. Gabby's in Amsterdam. That's a little time zone debacle. Thank you so much, Morgan and Ashley, for being here. That was really eye-opening. Y'all do so much with a small team, and it is incredible to hear about. And I hope it was super valuable for everyone else to hear too. But yeah, thank y'all so much for being here and being such amazing customers of Gatheround. It's been a joy to work with y'all the past few years.